Welcome to the Inside97 podcast.
Welcome to Inside 97. My name is Will, and I'm excited to be joined by Implementation Manager and my boss, Allie Cook. We're going to sit down today. Hey, Allie. We're going to go over copywriting this week as part of Inside 97. And we really just kind of wanted to give you an inside scoop of what goes into your pages when we put together your site during the implementation process, when you send in a ticket to the support team and you want an additional program page added. What is kind of our mindset and how we go about doing things. And Allie is really kind of the spearhead of our copywriting team to overlook that process. And so who better else to get to walk us through our mindset there. So really, Allie, I'll just start things off by asking, like I said, when we go into that process, when we get a new page, if somebody wants a new program added that they're rolling out or want a new program page written, what is our process? What is our mentality going into when we write those?
Yeah. So our mentality with that is really wanting to marry two things, what Google is looking for and what your users are looking for. Google obviously wants keywords. Sprinkling your location within this copy is going to be helpful for any kind of local SEO you're doing. And then, our goal with that is to really match what people are searching for in Google. So, using phrases like kids martial arts in Winston-Salem or personal training in Winston-Salem, just those big, high density keywords is going to be our first step, is identifying those. And then it's going to be, writing good sales copy that your users are interested in, making it very skimmable. No one is going to your website and reading word for word every single thing you do. So making it very skimmable with bullet points, small paragraphs, easy to read headers, including keywords in those headers, and making it an overall, good looking page for Google, but also a good looking page for all of your users.
Yeah, and I think that really all kind of goes into the importance of it, right? Because you want it to convert once they get to the page, but in order for someone to find that page organically, searching it on Google, it needs to be written a certain way. So when we speak of the importance of it and how it kind of comes into play, when we write pages, what are things that we like to utilize specifically that kind of key into those keywords, key into page titles, things like that can really lend to the importance of having a good solid page written?
Right. Yeah. So, a lot of our clients come to us with these very branded programs, like a HIIT class that's super branded, kickboxing classes that are branded. And while that's great and that is your brand and we want to market that as well, it's important, like you said, to get people to that page, to get people to make Google realize that, hey, this is actually something people are searching for, even though it's not particularly this brand name. So that's why we'll use key terms like kickboxing, personal training, kids martial arts, adult martial arts, those really, really heavy keywords. And then we go in and we kind of use those within the headers and within bullet points between the skimmable periods in there. And then we kind of can play around with the branding. And like we said before, marry your brand and your business with what Google really wants.
Exactly. And a lot of times in strategy calls early on in build, we like to cover this just so, people aren't thrown off when they get a test site, all the way to when they, kind of know our product a little bit better, know how we kind of set things up, in those headers. A lot of time, the way I like to explain it when people are first coming on board with us is really, the goal, like you said, is those broad keywords that people are going to be generically searching. So kickboxing, kids martial arts, whichever you're looking at in particular, in location, because it's basically forcing Google, whenever it goes to crawl your site for those page titles, those headers, to look at it and say, oh, it's this company name, this program, this location, rank it.
Yep, exactly.
It's really
matching this program.
Exactly. And then when you go into the user friendliness of it, the skimming factor of the bullet points, really key phrases, and that's where we always like to go into the branding specifically. If you really have a built out branded program, we're able to go in there, use those terms alongside what is going to rank, what is going to help from a keyword density standpoint, to kind of, like you said, bridge the two together so you have a healthy mix of both.
Right.
And kind of touching on that too, in terms of, I mentioned it a little bit, keyword density. We do have some folks that love the longer program pages. We have some folks that love the shorter program pages. Obviously, when we write program pages, there's kind of a healthy mix of both. What is the advantage or the disadvantage, I should say, of a site that's not super text heavy versus one that's overly text heavy, and then of course trying to find that sweet spot in the middle where you kind of bridge that gap.
Exactly. Yeah. So like you said, there is definitely a middle ground for this as well. You don't want to have a site that doesn't have a lot of copy where it leaves, the user being like, well, what do these people actually do?
Right.
But then at the same time, you don't want to have something super long that's going to leave your user with like, I have way too much information and now I'm not even interested and I'm not even going to put my lead info in the lead form. So there is a healthy balance with this as well. Again, it goes back to a lot of, you have to take in consider of the user experience just as much as you do with Google, because there's also a thing called keyword stuffing. So that's why we don't just sit there and put your location 15 times in one program page. We like to keep that to usually like 3 to 5 times within a program page. Same with keywords, same with, I've seen even websites like putting in white text at the very bottom, like a run on of keywords to like try and get Google to kind of see all of those. But that's called keyword stuffing. Google's pretty smart these days and can see right through that. So there is definitely a healthy balance with this as well, to again just take in the user experience and what Google wants.
Yeah, and keyword stuffing, like you said, gets caught really quickly. And if on the other side of it, if you overload it, on the flip side of it, if you don't put enough text, it will crawl it. If you don't have the headers the way that it wants, if you don't have the amount of keywords, it's going to get you skipped over just overall. So that's why when we build the pages, like Ali mentioned, 4 to 5 locations, 4 to 5, good keyword mentions, the skimmable sections. And the good thing is, if you are someone who wants something that's a little bit more short to the point, there are avenues to do that. A program page necessarily isn't the best place for that, but we can always build a separate inner page. We can always, a landing page is always a great option for that, especially if it's a particular program that you're doing for a set period of time, because
Right.
those don't follow the same SEO guidelines. They're not read the same. They're really kind of their own separate
Right.
build, if you will,
Right.
that don't follow the same restrictions.
Yeah, and with our, the basic design of all of our websites, our program pages are what gets crawled first. So, if your first program page has 6 words on it and it's called some branded program that no one's actually searching, you're setting yourself up for failure for that way. So that's just kind of a basic way of kind of how our sites are set up, and kind of how program pages fall into that.
Yeah, because if you brand it a specific name, you have to think, a lot of times when I try to explain it, the easiest way to think, Little Dragons, good thing to think of,
Yeah.
just a generic name. If you were to name a program page that and have the entire thing, not mention martial arts, not mention kids, really anything other than Little Dragons, the way that Google would read that is essentially you're banking on somebody sitting at home searching Little Dragons near me.
Correct.
Not,
And they
not
just don't
kids.
know.
Right. Yeah. Because unless they know your program, unless they
Right.
just happen to know that at your business, Little Dragons is the kids martial arts program, it won't work. Yeah, exactly. So it's definitely that balance. We do have a couple of tricks that we can use that as a display name here and there where we, can make it so that it appears that way and it doesn't affect anything, but to build a whole page is a whole different situation. And,
Right.
we have a solution for pretty much any way you kind of want to brand it that way. That's awesome, Ali. Oh, I really appreciate it. Do you have anything else you want to add or, touch on before I let you go?
I don't think so. I think the biggest thing is just to, be aware of the program pages that you have right now and take a look at them, see how they're written. We kind of have a set template for all of our program pages that we follow for the most part. Definitely read through it. If you have any, questions about copywriting, definitely let us know. If you ever want a page rewritten, we can definitely make suggestions for that and definitely let us know.
Awesome. Yeah, I appreciate it, Ali.